that on, get that going, turn this on. What's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm ZJ. I am a content creator, photographer, videographer out of Louisville, Kentucky, and I want to apologize about this squeaky chair. But moving on, I figured that for my very first video, given that we are having a content change about my photography and videography being heavily included in this, I figured talking about what's in my camera bag would be a pretty cool video. So we're gonna do that. I really need to get a cool intro, by the way. This is my camera bag. We are going to be diving into this is a Lowepro. This isn't my camera bag. This right here is my camera bag. This is the Peak Design 20-liter everyday backpack. Obviously you can see we have the murdered out one. If you can't tell, I like the color black a lot. It's very simple. It's clean. Less is more. Remember that. I used to have the 30-liter in charcoal, but I felt that it was just kind of too much, and me shooting mirrorless and not having like a crazy amount of gear yet, I just felt that it was kind of unnecessary for me. When Peak Design announced that they were going to be launching a blacked out line where pretty much all of their products were murdered out on the outside and this nice beige color on the inside, immediately piqued my interest, and no pun intended. And I pretty much sold my 30-liter charcoal gray bag, bought the 20-liter in all black. So before we dive into the contents of what is inside this bag, I want to real quick talk about why I went with this bag in particular. Main reason being is that it's very low key. It doesn't attract a lot of attention, and to the untrained eye, if you're not in the photography community, you're probably not going to know what Peak Design is. So you're not gonna notice the design of the backpack right off the bat. You're just gonna think it's this plain Jane black backpack, and as someone whose gear has been stolen from them before, that is a key factor in this bag for me. Because there's no crazy branding on it, people probably think it's a knockoff for the most part. Another thing that I really like about this bag are these swivel mounts up here on the shoulders, so they move with you and conform really well. You'll notice that on the outside of this I have the Peak Design capture clip on the strap, but I'll show a little bit more on that once we actually get to that part of the bag. All these handles, the zippers are super smooth. You have these pretty expandable cuffs on the side. Just overall, this is a really good backpack, and I'm a huge fan of the mag lock system here because you can't actually get inside the bag. Without further ado, let's dive into this bag. As I take things out of this bag, I'm going to be placing them here on the desk. That way you can see exactly at all times how much this bag carries. So we're going to move this mat right here, and then let's dive into the top section of this bag. Up first, we have the Think Tank cable management pouch. This is super cool because all the wires stay organized, they don't get tangled up, and I can even see what's in the bag. So instead of having a bag that's not see-through, I would have to either feel around or just kind of open the bag and kind of peek around. Whereas with this see-through front end, I can easily grab the cables that I need. And so say I need both my Apple stuff. That is it right there. I think I dropped something. Pretty sure I dropped something. Found it. So, you know, say I have everything out, I can very easily put everything back in just as quickly as I got it all out without any hassle whatsoever. Those little bungee cords keep all the cables together and organized, and also keeps them healthy and they last longer because they're not a jumbled mess. Think Tank cable management, awesome product, highly recommend. Rocket blower. I shoot mirrorless on the Sony a7 III as a matter of fact. So if I ever am about to shoot and I notice that there's a little bit of dust on the sensor, or after I've changed lenses so many times, I'll typically check the camera, hold it upside down, spray it around, make sure everything's good. They made that in black, and I didn't know it. I could have had the black one, but instead I have the red one. Kind of upset about that, if anyone wants to trade. Up next we have filters for the lenses. These are just polarizers. I do a lot of car photography. I also like the effect that they have on reflections for the sky and water. Those are typically two primary elements that I like to have within my landscape shots. It also works really well on trees. If you have not shot with a polarizer before, do it. Go get one. It is a life-changing experience. These are Best Buy's brand of filters. I haven't had any problems with them, but I am going to be exploring some different brands just to see if there is a difference in higher quality filters, and then I will report my findings to you guys immediately, so stay tuned for that. And then last but not least, within this top pouch, I have a Lume Cube. This guy gets super bright. Do not recommend leaving it on for an extended period of time at its highest setting because it gets really hot. I made that mistake one time, and it almost cost me some skin. If I had held on to it long enough, it would have burned me. What's cool about this is, besides having an adjustable constant video light level, you can also slave this. So whenever your primary flash goes off, oh, that's right, it will slave. That is my Lume Cube. It's an awesome little accessory. It can definitely add some extra finesse to your photos. Up next, we'll go ahead and dive into this side of the bag. In here, you'll see there's actually not a lot. Right here is where my A7 III goes. In this little side zipper piece here, we have the Peak Design wrist strap. It slips or someone bumps into me and knocks my camera out of my hand. At least it doesn't go crashing to the ground. And storage-wise, for whenever you're running around, it's actually super nice because you can just fold it around like that and it clips to this magnetic bit right here. So that way it kind of acts as a bracelet and stays fairly out of the way. Awesome accessory, love it. A 6040 milliamp Mophie power bank. This is just the regular power station, holds like 1.5 phone charges. Normally I will use this on the Lume Cube or my cell phone if I'm out somewhere and the batteries on either one of those are running fairly low. This is what I use to charge them on the go. Within this pocket, I have a pen and pencil. I know no one ever writes anymore, but in the event that I am out of business cards, which is currently, I like to be able to write my information down on like a scrap piece of paper or something. You never know if someone's phone is organized or unorganized. So I like to make sure that my information is on like a scrap piece of paper or something. That way they have to take that out of their pocket or their purse physically and they look at that information again. So at least I know they'll more than likely see it a second time. Another reason, real quick, before we dive into this lens right here, which I'm sure some of you have already seen, and what's that? This is why I like this design, for one, because black and beige, come on, that's awesome. It's pass through, and these cards, you can change the layout of the bag very quickly, and it's very customizable, and it works extremely well for me. Moving on to the bottom segment of this bag, this is a permanent spot for this lens. This is my 70-200 f4. I didn't get the G Master because an extra $1,000 for just an extra stop of light and a little bit more blur to me is not worth it. This lens is so good, and I think every photographer should have a 70-200. For me, I really like using this at 200, like super punched in. When you combine that with the bokeh that you can get from f4 on top of the compression that is at that focal length, it just creates an awesome image that I feel like 2.8 doesn't really make that much of a difference in. I guess for some people the blur is like, I need the most extreme background blur I can get. This lens is in fact sharper than the f2.8, but that's another time. 70-200, outstanding lens, absolutely love it. Has a permanent spot in this bag. So we'll go ahead and zip this up and move on to the other side of the bag. Immediately off the bat, another lens. This is one of my favorite focal lengths, 85mm. If you can't tell, I'm a fan of tight focal lengths. I normally like the extreme ends of photography, which is either really wide or really narrow. A lot of the times I have been shooting with narrow focal lengths. It's just something that I've wanted to enhance my focus on. I feel like for me, it is more of a challenge to get my subject in a tighter frame. I've just been shooting with 85 and 70-200 a lot lately. This is pretty much my low light lens. The 70-200 is my running gun. If I'm in an extreme low light situation or want extreme background blur, I'll go 85 f1.8. This is an absolute awesome lens. By the way, reviews coming in on both of these guys. These are just fantastic lenses. Like the other side, this flap has a zipper segment in it. Within here, we'll start off with the Satechi Hyperdrive. Basically an all-in-one dongle. I have two USB Type-C ports, 2 USB 3.1 ports. All of them can deliver charge. And then I have a micro SD and an SD card slot, all via USB Type-C, so everything is still super fast. This is super, super clutch. If you have any of the new Mac stuff where it's USB Type-C and you don't want to carry around a bunch of dongles, this guy is it. This is all you need. I also have a Samsung T5. This is the 500 gigabyte model. It's also USB Type-C, so you still get really fast data transfer. I'm probably going to be upgrading to the 2 terabyte variant here soon, and I'm probably going to change the color from blue to, you guessed it, black. Within this little slouch, I have some SD cards. These are SanDisk Extreme Pro 64 gigabyte ones. I get these just because that's what Best Buy always has. They don't actually carry the Extreme Pros in 128, otherwise I'd probably get those, but that is more than enough for just photos. I have 3 of them so far, just to try and stay organized with my shoots. I use these strictly for photos. And then I use the SanDisk Extreme Plus 128 gigabytes for my video recording. They can handle 4K perfectly fine. That's actually what I'm using right now. So I use those for video, and the Extreme Pros for photo. The color coding just helps me out and stays a little bit more organized. We have one more place, and that is the back compartment, which houses my main machine. That is my 2017 15-inch MacBook Pro. It's not a spec'd out one, but it gets everything done. I can do all of my photo editing, my video editing, and my schoolwork on this with no issues whatsoever, and has not let me down once. I would be lying if I said I wasn't considering upgrading to the newer ones simply for the 6-core i7. I would have to do a little bit more research to see if I want to upgrade to the i9. With me editing videos, I need to be able to have something that can edit videos, and an iPad Pro cannot do that on Final Cut Pro 10 like this can, nor can it handle the plugins that I use. Given that it's a different OS, it's not using Mac OS, it's using iOS, which is mobile based. If I were just a photographer, then yeah, I would only have an iPad Pro and edit all my photos on that, and then have an at-home setup as well. But that is not the case. I'm a hybrid shooter, so I like to have a workstation that is just as versatile and mobile as I am. And the final piece to this whole setup is my second power bank. I actually just got this not too long ago. This is a 20,000 milliamp Mophie. I mainly got this just in case I'm ever in an event where I can't just plug this up into the wall like I normally would. I find myself in funny situations at school because of the classroom layout. I could just hook it up via USB Type-C, keep it running at least to be able to take notes on Microsoft Word and have my textbook open online. That doesn't really consume power like Final Cut and Lightroom do. If this ever goes out, I can always have a backup. I have yet to use it actually, but it has already found a way into my bag, and that is what is in my camera bag setup. I want to stay light and mobile. Again, there are some things that are typically on here that are not in this right now. That is including the Sony a7 III with a battery grip, and now a Joby Gorilla Pod for, you know, holding the camera while I'm vlogging, and then now a Rode shotgun mic. It's just the Video Mic Go. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about my gear that I did not answer, throw them down below and I will answer them ASAP. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Peace out. I'll see you guys next time.